Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me those ears. If you're watching this on video, I appreciate your eyeballs as well. Today, I want to go back a little bit and talk about a study that was done. It was like 2011, 2012, it's almost 10 years ago. And it was done by CEB, which is now part of Gartner. And these are the folks that wrote the book called The Challenger Sale. Now, one of the studies I thought was always fascinating was the average win and loss rate when you're going after a deal. So basically, they did the study across different industries, and they analyzed win and loss deals, right? And then they came up with this number that on average, you will win 40% of your deals, right? On average, 40% of your deals. Again, it's industry dependent, so this is just an average, right? Then that means you will lose 60% of your deal. So you typically win 40, you'll lose 60. But then they looked at the 60. When they started analyzing the 60, they realized that 20% of that, more or less, went to your competitors. In other words, somebody took the business from you, which leaves you with 40%. And what happened to that 40% of the deals you lost? No decision. Oh man, we've all been in that situation where the customer, everything looks like it's going well, the deal's going well, and boom, they don't make a decision and they don't buy. Well, now they've dug into the data even a little further, and they started looking at this no decision. What is that no decision? That 40% no decision, what does that really entail? Well, it entails two states of mind. This is what I really want to drive home today, is that there's two things going on with an indecision. The first one is the one we talk about the most, which is status quo bias. In other words, people would rather remain the same than change. In other words, you know what? No, Victor, what we have is good enough. No, the product we're working with is great. I mean, it's not perfect, Victor, but it's good enough. In other words, they're more comfortable staying in the same situation than changing because in their mind, the perceived value of change isn't worth it. And so what we try to do as salespeople is to create that sense of urgency where we try to make the pain of the same greater than the pain of change. Let me say that again. We try to make the pain of the same greater than the pain of change, which means we try to show them, if they're in this status quo mode, not wanting to change, that they need to change if they want to remain competitive. We show them ROI calculators, right? Return on investment calculators. Maybe even break-even point calculators like, hey, look, if you invest this, you'll get your money back within a year and you'll be competitive. We show them things like, look, this will reduce your costs, which will make you more price competitive in the market. We'll talk about, for example, how to increase their revenue by going after new market share because they have these new products or services they can now offer their end clients. You get the idea. We try to create this sense of urgency. Hey, kind of the FOMO thing, right? The fear of missing out. If you don't make these changes, you're going to lose business. You're going to lose market share. You're going to lose revenue. Your costs are going to be out of control. Mr. Customer, you need to change or else you're going to miss out on all these opportunities. That's status quo. And so when customers are in that mode, what we just talked about is what we want to do, create that sense of urgency. But here's what's interesting. What we're also finding is that sometimes they're past the status quo. They know they need to change. In other words, they go, I know, Victor, I know I need to change. I know I'm spending too much money on this. I know our costs are out of control. I know I'm losing market share. Victor, I know. So you get all the I knows, right? So then what's holding them back? And then the other part of the equation then is if they're over the status quo, they know they need to change, then we're dealing with indecision. Indecision is simply I know I need to change, but I don't know how to decide. There's too many variables. There's too many options. I'm confused. I don't feel comfortable. I have this anxiety. There's so much uncertainty. Is this really going to give me the value I want? Is this really going to help me? Is the return on investment really there? So they need your help to guide them through that indecision piece. And indecision is really about a customer needs you to hold their hand. Now, I'm highlighting this because it's important. You have to detect what state your customer's in. Are they in status quo or indecision? If they're in status quo mode, that means they're not convinced that they should change, then we do all the aforementioned, right? The ROI calculators, show them how they're missing out, so forth and so on. But as soon as they understand and we understand and we're connected on we need to change, then we need to shift our tactic away from trying to scare them, the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt. We need to move away from that and then help them make a buying decision. In other words, clarify the path for them. Maybe even show them how it's going to work. Show them a roadmap. Show them how the decision has been made with other companies and how it can work for them. They're looking for you to reduce their anxiety. They're sold on the change. They need you to reduce their anxiety and increase their certainty. So again, the next time you're talking to a customer, ask yourself, if they're not moving forward on a deal and a deal is stuck, ask yourself, is it status quo that they don't believe they need to change? Or they do believe they need to change. They just have a hard time making a buying decision. Which one is it? And depending on which state they're in, should determine how you talk to your customer. I just wanted to highlight that. And that is it for the Sales Influence Podcast. Leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify, wherever you're listening or watching. Want to get your feedback on this one. This is an important topic. I want to hear what you have to say. And after you do that, leaving me some feedback, check out the Sales Velocity Academy. Again, we've added some new courses, some new training to help you sell more faster. And on that note, this is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you understand the buyer's state of mind and you know how to talk to them and you know how. Take care.
Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.